and welcome guests. I'd like our CIO please to call the roll.
Thank you very much. So we start with the chair, Deputy Mayor Sanderson,
Present.
Mayor Blair,
Present.
Councillor Weatherby,
Present.
Councillor Richardson,
Present.
Councillor Cooper,
Present.
Councillor Johnson,
Present.
Councillor Leggett, present, Councillor Martell,
Present.
Councillor Patton has sent regrets for tonight, Councillor Benoit,
Present.
Councillor Fletcher,
Present.
Councillor Kennedy.
Present.
Deputy Mayor, you have quorum.
Thank you, Dan. In peace and in friendship and in the spirit of truth and reconciliation, I acknowledge that the Municipality of Colchester is in MacMichael, the unceded and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq. And we should also recognize that February is African Heritage Month, and I see people are wearing their beautiful emblems. So our first item on the agenda tonight is the Debert Legion, and specifically the Debert Legion roof. And I would ask Beth to come forward, and Donnie, if you want to come forward as well. Beth MacMichael and Donnie Totten. And the floor is yours.
I'm not sure you need to turn the microphone on. Really, I don't want to sit down. I'm not comfortable
Okay.
sitting down. It's not, I am.
Do we need it for our public?
Yeah, I would turn.
Do you need it?
Yeah.
Get closer to us. It will pick me
I
up.
think it'll
Good.
pick you up.
I don't go too far away.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I'm Beth MacMichael and I have been before council before at one point. So glad to be back again. Always interested in seeing what goes on at this level. And Donnie and I are here to put a plug in for the Debert Legion. We have a problem. We have a roof that needs to be replaced. So here we are. So maybe I have it in the wrong order in my file. Okay, so that's a picture of the Legion. You may have been out there at night is when it's usually the busiest, but I wanted you to be able to see the size of the roof. This is not a small project. A big, it's
80 by 100 from the main building, 20 by 40.
yeah. So that's what we're looking at. Okay, now this is what I thought was before the picture. Our mission, I don't know if you've been on the Legion website, but our mission is to serve veterans, but it also includes the military, serving military and RCMP members and their families. Our job is to promote remembrance and to serve our communities and our country. That's a very small portion of the way it looks on the ground. Every Legion has the capacity to do some things more than others, but there's certain things that we're all passionate about, and I'll talk about some of those as we go through. Okay, so this is the order of my presentation. The first thing is a physical look at the physical thing. Do we really need a new roof, and when do we need it? And it is over 35 years old, 50, and it's the rubberized surface on it for maybe 30. Yeah. So it's been patched and cobbled for many years, all kinds of leaks. If you go in, you can see in the hall, there's been various places, and we put buckets under different places. And our past president, Ronnie Escott, was an expert at going up on the roof and finding ways to patch it. And the last time that he was there, this is probably 2 years before he died, he said, I don't think we're going to be able to do this any longer. We consulted with Rural Roots, and you're familiar with the company Rural Roots, and they concur. It's really not a roof that has any more life left in it. So when do we need it repaired or replaced? And it's now. We have 2 more leaks in the hall, and we closed the hall for a few days before, so we can figure out whether we can, put something on there to make it reasonable, but we can't have the tiles, soaked tiles falling down on people's heads. That isn't possible. So now is when we need it. And in our dreams, we would insulate it. It would make a big difference if we could do that. That's separate from what we're talking to you about. If we make some headway here, we'll be talking to Efficiency Nova Scotia about whether or not that could happen. So a needs assessment about the role in the community. The mission of the Legion is an important one. I didn't realize, not growing up in Debert, just how important Remembrance Day was to pretty much everyone who lives there. And it's a really a wonderful thing to go to the cenotaph every year, Remembrance Day, and see the young people who come out with their kids. And they're quiet. It's very respectful and very meaningful. So that's really the mission of the Legion, is to work on that for all people that it can, and to keep people remembering what this represents. But also we provide services for the community. And in the letter to the municipality, I made a nice list for you of all the things that I could think of, but I'm sure there are other things. We're always thinking of extra little projects in the middle of something. So, you know, I just ran through with our insurance agent last week, all the things that we do, and I thought, that was in the letter. So that was kind of fun. But why that building? Other legions have had to give up their buildings and have settled into mini malls or little rental places. And our building is a fantastic building for all the things that we do. We have lots and lots of space. We have an industrial kind of kitchen in there with one industrial stove. So we can cook meals for all kinds of people and have that kind of social thing. We have a great big auditorium, which serves us well for bingo and darts tournaments. I don't know where the darts players would go. And dances and all kinds of social things. The bar itself used to be a lot busier for just the alcohol, but now we see Saturday afternoons, there's a group of guys that come and play pool all afternoon, and off and on there'll be other impromptu gatherings, and some people are coming to have their birthday parties there. So lots and lots of that social kind of stuff. We also use the auditorium for a Cheerio game, you know, just tons and tons of things. So another building would not do what we do. It couldn't possibly have the capacity that this one has. So the planning process, we've been talking about it for a long time. Yes, definitely, we should have done something about this. 5 years ago would have been too late, really. We should have, but it's very easy to look at it every year and go, well, it's not really too bad this year. And we don't have enough money to start. And we have these other things that could be done. So the last time we applied for the Legion Capital Grant, we just said, well, we can't get enough money to do the roof. Let's put that off a little bit better, and we replaced some doors that needed doing and put an entryway right at the front, and then used an accessibility grant to put the buttons on that front door. So it served us well, but that was a less than $20,000 project. So now we have taken we're girding our loins into the fray. We really have to do this. So I've had so much fun with ChatGPT. I've got timelines and I've got a one pager. Just I maybe spending too much time on that. We did send out for quotes, which Donnie will tell you about. We are building all kinds of contacts and preparing our strategies. We are applying for the Legion Capital Grant, and we're creating a team for the fundraising piece. So how will we pay for it? Well, what's it going to cost us, Donnie?
I invited 6 to tender. 3 came back, 3 were too busy, and we run from 92,000 to 146,000. 2 different, it's not apples and apples here. One is a standard ribbed roof. You've seen them in the little industrial buildings. And this is the Butler building. I invited Fitz Construction. They were the original contractors to put it in for a standing lid and external fasteners. That's the $146,000. I've also asked them for half. What would anybody do half? And they both will, but it's not 50% of the total. It's 50% plus 10. They have to mow and demow, come, but that is an option. Pick the side that's leaking the worst, and we know which side that is, if all else fails. But it's not cheap. We are, as Beth has already said, Ronnie, God bless him, worked at Fosco for almost all of his career. He knew how to fix roofs, and the last big fix is delaminating the roll on. It's done. There's one spot on the roof I'm gonna walk on. So it's just what we need.
Yeah. So in my little spreadsheet that I did looking at the costs of it, we say that if they've given us the code of 92,000, if that's what we go with, but that's the quote that won't last forever. So looking at all of the other possibilities, I put in 125,000. I mean, you just ballpark these things. And then there may be add-ons. So, what's our budget look like? Well, our financial structure is much better than when I was here last. I didn't have solid financial papers to give you, but I have them now. Have a look. Our treasurer has, we're gonna be between the elections tonight for the new officers. So our treasurer is flipping to somebody else. So before she left, she did us a nice budget for 2026. And she also did the budget for predictions on where we're gonna get our money for this. It's very optimistic. Very optimistic, I think. Maybe we can do it. We're certainly gonna try. But we're gonna have to work hard, but there are a lot of people that are really committed to this. So I'll leave that if you have any questions for the budget. But we're definitely applying for the Legion Capital Grant. It's $10,000. And our requirement is that we have $10,000 worth of that. They have start dates and end dates where we have to use it. I don't think we're gonna have any problem with that. We're going to be doing something related to the roof. I looked at the Strategic Initiatives Grant and I don't think it's open right now. We're looking at some big corporations. Sobeys is an interesting one. They are presently saying they're not helping communities outside of Pictou County. But we're gonna see what we can do anyway. And Irving as well, because they have a stake in our community and lots of connections there. And I know that some people will say, well, what about the Legion organization? It's a huge organization. No, they don't provide this kind of funding for their branches. The branches look after themselves and provide money for veterans. So the poppy money that we have is entirely for things related to veterans. Doesn't support legions. And then the fun part. So we're picking a start date, official start date. Things are already going on behind the scenes, but February 14th, when I get back from Newfoundland, we're gonna have a rollout. I've got somebody picked for my social media presence, and so we've got all kinds of things going out there. It's been suggested to us that we run a GoFundMe to try and tap into particularly people who lived in Debert in the past and are elsewhere, like military people especially. And as we can get more people sharing it with those who lived in our area, I think we might get some uptake on that. And then we're going to start meeting with businesses. And there are lots and lots of friends of the Legion out there. We have all kinds of people who work in various places who have connections, or people who have businesses who have connections to Debert. So that's what we do. Combination of face-to-face meetings and mail-outs. You know, I said start project in May if finances allow. We'll see. Okay. There we go. Felicity. I have all kinds of ideas. Considering a matching event. Try to make it exciting and make it very visible. So anybody that gives money will have their name promoted as a supporter of the Debert Legion in some fashion. There, and the summary is, we need a roof. We don't have any choice unless the choice is to close the Legion, which I can hardly believe saying. But we're committed to this for the heritage aspect, the responsibility of the Legion to keep our collective memory alive and to celebrate Remembrance Day. For the commitment of the generation before us, I hope if you haven't had a chance, I think you should read Harold Barkley's testimonial for this. Harold is one of the families who put their money on the line to rebuild the Legion to the building that we have today. And he's the person that got me onto this executive. And he's really committed to doing this. For the ability to support a healthy social and cultural life in the community, we really try to do that. I have a seniors group that does all kinds of things that we say, it's not age limited. You can come if you feel like you would belong. So here we are, and for the opportunities to support those who need their neighbors. So we hope that you'll help us. My proposal, I think I said in it, I picked $30,000. I pulled that out of the air. I don't know what you have and what you're willing to give us, but whatever you have will be gratefully received. And I understand that your process is some way along. It's not going to be given to us in a check before we leave here tonight, right? So there's lots of time to talk about what, you would like to know more about what exactly is happening and where you should aim. I mean, if you want to give us the 100,000.
We'll wait.
Okay. What did I do?
Great. Bring us over.
All right.
Nobody called it.
Thank you, Beth. And you're right, there's no decisions made at this particular meeting. I would first like to ask for a motion to receive, moved by Councillor Benoit, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Is there any discussion on the motion? Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Benoit.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Thank you, Beth and Donnie. It was a great presentation. I like the idea of the GoFundMe. Those seem to be doing very well for a lot of people. That may help out. There are some other local businesses that I might talk to you later that have been very helpful to things that I've done in the past. And maybe you've already reached out to them, but maybe we can connect on that. The phased approach that you put in here, I think is very well thought out plan. There's been an incredible amount that was allocated for the roof fund donations from the events community members and local businesses. I think everybody in Debert, I've been there since I was 16 and just in Masstown, not too far away before that, but Debert, they all come together. There's so much support for the Debert Legion. And as a counselor for the area, I know the facility well and understand the role it plays in Debert and the community, surrounding communities. The Legion's not just a veterans organization, it's a core piece of community infrastructure where neighbors, families, and friends gather with critical support to offer to the local elementary in case an event, potential warming center, and then also space for seniors programs, community meals, home of our local Village Follies theater, social and recreation activities, celebration of life services such as the Remembrance Day, which I've attended the last number, and they're fantastic. I've never seen anything like it. And they always add a special piece to it at the end. Mayor Blair's been there multiple times and they're amazing. Like I've been in tears a couple of times from what they've shown there. There also used to be, and people may not know, there used to be a daycare ran out of the Legion upstairs. Like there's quite a space in that Legion that can hold a lot of different things. And the old Debert Winter Carnival, unfortunately, that's still not going on, but it was huge in Debert for a many number of years, and the Debert Legion helped with that as well. So I think supporting the Legion is about protecting a long-standing community asset, not just fixing the roof. If the roof fails, many of these services are at risk. So with that, I would like to put a second motion, or maybe I have to wait to
First
vote.
one
Right,
first.
okay.
Thank you. Councillor Weatherby.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. I'd like to thank you for your presentation. That's great. Do you still have your Friday night suppers?
No, we
Those-
have
those are
many
great.
people asking about them. We're thinking about whether we can institute some variation on that. It's a lot to ask people,
It's a lot of work. I know it
a
is.
lot of work, and most of the people who are committed to it are not able to do that
I know
anymore.
some of the ones when I
Yeah.
used to go, some of them aren't around anymore, and they did a great job, and we really enjoyed it when we used to go. So.
Thank you. Councillor Kennedy.
Through you, thank you, Beth and Johnny. I see a letter here from your MLA. Have you tapped the provincial funding? Is there any provincial funding?
The Legion Capital Grant.
And how much is that?
10,000.
And that's all they're gonna get.
That's all that one is. We're looking at a couple of other ones, but we don't qualify for a lot of things, you know, that's.
So in talking with him, he's telling you that's the end?
I'm still going.
Good. Thank you. Thank you.
Great. Councillor Cooper, please.
Yeah, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Yeah, thanks for your presentation. Something you said there, I just want to follow up on it. Daycare, is that not there because of the roof leaking?
No, it's been quite a few years, but in terms of the space, it was nicely finished and have it set up as a meeting room, so. If it doesn't, and it's actually also where the Follies practice. That's where they come in. Are you familiar with?
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, so that's where they practice leading up to the run.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further? Ready for the vote? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Contrary minded, nay. Motion carries. And Councillor Benoit.
Thank you. I'd also like to make a motion to refer to staff for budget consideration.
Right, and we have seconder? Seconded by Councillor Martell. Further discussion on the motion to refer to staff? Budget deliberations?
Question.
Question's been called. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. The motion carries. Thank you, Beth and Donnie, very much for a great presentation. I would invite our next presenters to come forward, please. Oh, I'd like to welcome Tim Bernard, Executive Director, MacMichael Debert Cultural Center. Thank you for joining us tonight, and I'm sorry I don't know.
Yeah, this is my Director of Operations, Leah Rosenmeyer.
Welcome.
So we were both here back in November 2023, so thanks for welcoming us back. And Dan and I have had a couple of conversations. Marie and Mayor Christine have been to a couple of events, so thank you guys for coming in. And I know Lisa's not here tonight, but she's been informed of some of the work that we've been doing, so usually I'd like to begin just to acknowledge the work that our Elders Advisory Council have been doing on this work. They've been engaged with us for over 24 years now. We're going into the 24th year of working with our council. Unfortunately, last year was an extremely hard year for them. We lost 5 of our elders, council members, and you know, it is very difficult for the rest of the elders, and knowing that their dreams or visions, you know, they're so close to coming through. So I just want to acknowledge them. And I also want to acknowledge our visionary, Dr. Don Jewell. Several of you probably know Don. He lives in Onslow. He's been working in Millbrook. He's now retired. He says he's retired, but he's our elder in residence at CMM. So I seen him in his office today. He looks very much like he's working. But he envisioned this project back in 1989. So I'm not going to drag us all the way back to 1989 and bring us forward. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about where we're at with MacMichael. And we've been working on the vision for the past 24 years. This is a 24 years, since 2002. And if we can just get to the next slide, am I controlling this? Or is...
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks, Marcia.
Okay. So I just want to talk about who we are. So, you know, we're mandated by all 13 Mi'kmaq chiefs in the province. They all fully support the work that we're doing. And it's just not just supported by community, it was envisioned by our community. And this makes the center truly a Mi'kmaq Nation project for the nation. So we are building the center that is grounded in Mi'kmaq values, relationships, and direction. Our purpose is clear and community driven. We are here to share our stories that stretch back to over 11,000 years and continue today. We are there to protect past belongings and knowledge with care, with respect, and always with guidance from our elders. We want to explore the lives of those from long ago, but also the lives of our people today, only. And finally, we support understanding, healing, and language growth, not just for our communities, but for everyone who comes through our doors. On the right, you'll see a rendering of the future center. This is a place designed to gather us, Mi'kmaq children, families, elders, and invite others in to learn and to be and come alongside us. So you can see the vision here was created by one of the few Indigenous architects in the country. His name is Wjit. And the idea here is that we're creating a space that he envisions as welcoming people into, and this is based off of a traditional eel weir, that would be one of our ancestors' fishing tools. So we're funneling folks into the building and we're building into the landscape. So what are we achieving? So MDCC meets some of our longest standing goals. First and foremost, we're protecting extraordinary ancestral sites, places that hold deep spiritual, cultural, historical meaning. We're ensuring that care continues for generations to come. We're also creating world-class care and protection for belongings and archival materials. That includes belongings that were taken away from here over 100 years ago, and now are coming home to be cared for in ways that align with Mi'kmaq values. Mi'kmaq Debert supports healing and reconciliation. Thank you for the acknowledgement today. And, you know, I do see the opportunity for, you know, the county to be more engaged with reconciliation, because it's not a destination, it's a journey, right? And we're all on. It'll be a space where Mi'kmaq healing journeys are supported and where national reconciliation actions can take place and root and grow. We'll offer year-round educational opportunities through programming, and not just for our Mi'kmaq learners, but for anyone who wants to learn with respect and humility. MDCC also plays a key role in Mi'kmaq cultural tourism, welcoming an estimated 66,000 visitors annually. This helps create sustainable economic impact, but also sharing Mi'kmaq knowledge on our own terms. And finally, Mi'kmaq Debert provides something that has long been needed, a gathering space within our ancestral lands for the nation. A space that belongs to the nation, serves the nation. This is the vision, and we are achieving it together. This slide speaks to something that's foundational to Mi'kmaq Debert, the place. The center is located within a sacred cultural landscape, a landscape that has held footsteps of our ancestors for more than 11,000 years. It's just not where we're building, it's why we're building. The design of the site itself reflects our values. The entrance draws visitors inward into a welcoming circle and gathering space. It's a gentle invitation to come together, to learn, to listen. The vision includes 3 outdoor interpretive trails designed to support land-based learning and outdoor education. These trails will be a place where children and elders alike can learn from the land and learn from each other. And all of this sits within 1,200 acres of protected Mi'kmaq forest that holds extraordinary ancestral sites. These sites are being protected and honored in place right where our ancestors left their stories. Importantly, this isn't just a facility, it's a Mi'kmaq space designed by us, for us, in relationship with our nation. Finally, a large outdoor Maui-omi or gathering space will be developed in phases. This will be a space for community-wide gatherings, celebrations, and ceremony, deeply rooted in Mi'kmaq ways. What you're seeing is more than just a building plan, it's a vision, one that grows from the land and reaches towards the future. Let's take a moment and look at where we are financially with the Mi'kmaq Debert Cultural Center. So we were here 2.5 years ago. And the total project cost today is $48.7 million. Huge project, right? Huge gains though. Huge gains for the county of Colchester. I like to say with confidence that we've already raised 38.6 million of that 48.7 to date. And through a combination of community and government and philanthropic contributions, that is a powerful show of support and commitment. But that does leave a gap. We have a gap of about 10.1 million. And we're going to work towards closing that gap with our government partners, federally, provincially, municipality, town of Truro, through our chiefs and council of our 13 communities. And we are also actively doing our own fund development. So we started out with a $12 million fund development goal. We're at 8.6 of that 12 to date. So, you know, it's been a lot of journeying over the last 5 years and asking a lot of people. But I can feel for a little bit of the last presenters for sure. I mean, they have a smaller target, but I know it may seem like it's a huge one. And I think it's something that they can overcome, but we're confident that we can overcome our gap. So the question isn't, you know, if center will be built. It's a question of when. And we look at shovel in the ground this July. So we've spent the last little while building a driveway that will lead into the center space, a utility corridor. So that is nearing substantial completion at this point. So I guess I jumped ahead a little bit, but you know, as I mentioned, we're not planning anymore, we're building. So the driveway and utility corridor construction, the groundwork that connects us to the land and makes everything possible is substantially complete. We've worked with Sinclair Construction. We got some great recommendations from your staff here at the county. Ian's work, he's been great to work with over the last year. So, you know, we're getting close to being finished. The last piece of it will be the paving of the 1 kilometer driveway, which we couldn't do until late spring, early summer. Construction documents for the building tender are being finalized and will be released this July. That means we're almost ready to move from paper to physical build. Exhibit planning and design are also in full swing. These exhibits will reflect Mi'kmaq voices, knowledge, and ways of telling stories, carefully developed with community input. Our belongings are scheduled to come home in 2028. We have 2 strong MOUs with 2 institutions. One is the Canadian Museum of History, where the Debert collection has been residing for the last 50 plus years. With their commitment, they're going to be repatriated to back to our home. The second strong MOU is with the National Museum of American Indian. The National Museum is in Washington, part of the mall complex there. And the Cultural Resource Center is just across the water at Suitland, Maryland. And then there's over 800,000 artifacts, indigenous artifacts from the Americas. We have a small collection there. I wouldn't say small, but it's huge to us. There's over 500 pieces that are going to come home. These pieces were collected by a number of anthropologists at the turn of the 20th century. And with the support of the National Museum, they will make their way to Debert. So that's a big, that'll be a big event for us when that happens. So we're looking at doors opening in the fall of 2028. That's not too far away, right? We are moving steadily towards the moment that when the center will be open to our communities and the public. And finally, while some outdoor elements are phased, they are part of our long-term vision. So part of us getting to build was to go back and do a couple of valued engineering projects. And one was to focus more on the building itself, and some of the outdoor spaces like the large Maui space will come in time. So we're well on our way, and everything you've seen so far is proof that the vision is becoming a reality. Just want to touch a little bit about some of the other work we're doing and briefly highlight some of the powerful threads of our work happening alongside the build. First, as I mentioned, our Home to Mi'kmaq project is bringing home these important collections that have been held for generations in institutions like the Smithsonian. This work is not about returning to the past, it's about bringing those belongings home so they can live again in our community. We're also preparing to launch our Roots of Reconciliation, which is a learning resource developed to support Mi'kmaq-led education and awareness. It'll serve classrooms, communities, educators from across the province, deepening an understanding of Mi'kmaq truths and leadership and reconciliation. At the same time, we're moving forward with the IRS commemoration site. So those of you who have seen the Feel the Heart campaign that the community of Sebago-Nagadi is taking on is just in front of where the former residential school used to be, this tree line. Residential school used to be behind this tree line. And part of our work has been to support the vision of our survivors and descendants, and that they want people not to forget where the school stood. So the last 6 years, we've managed to have it designated as National Historic Site in Canada, which was done in 2000, 2001. And as we move forward, we are building a commemoration park in honor of Nora Bernard. Those of you that know of Nora, you know, she helped to lead the class action suit. Unfortunately, she passed before that happened, but it was her pre-work, the Shubenacadie Survivors Association, that kickstarted that whole movement. And the survivors want to honor her in that way. And so the commemoration park, when it opens in May, will be in her honor. And it will be not on the site. It'll be a far enough distance away where people will feel comfortable. Survivors will feel comfortable, but it'll be an honor of survivors themselves, because they don't want to commemorate the school. They want to commemorate despite that school. Look at what have we done. What have we done? So, you know, all of this is grounded in stewardship of the land, from the forests and trails to the sacred sites. We are guided by care and intention, ensuring this center grows in right relation with the land and the waters of Mi'kmaq. These initiatives are not separate, they are deeply connected, and together they are helping to build a future rooted in Mi'kmaq knowledge, care, and community. So just overall footprint of the building. So we're looking at almost a 30,000 square foot facility. Right? I won't go into great detail here, but here's the entrance that I showed you, coming into a large gathering space. We have 3 significant galleries that are being planned, almost makes up 50% of the building. We have a opportunity to serve our guests, so we'll have a cafe area here. This is our office space for staff. We have a staff for, I think at full complement, we're about 27. And a big part of what we're doing, and which other sets us apart from other facilities like Melbourne Cultural and Heritage Center, is more of an interpretation center, is that we're caring for collections. So all of this space here is meant to care for those collections, which requires significant care through ensuring we have the right climate controls in place, right? And so the last piece of the puzzle will be the collections coming home after our center is up and operational for at least 4 or 5 months. So overall, this is the footprint of the center. And so what I want to come here today and talk about is, and Dan and I have had a couple of conversations over the last 2 years. Looking back at our notes here, Dan, I think it's over the last 2 years. And we're both busy fellas, so what I want to propose is that we work with not only Dan, but members of the staff to create an MOU. So I don't know if there's anybody around the table from back in 2005, 6, 8, around there. So we had a original MOU at the time when the Debert lands were being divvied up. And in 2008, we created this MOU that we pulled together and protect the ancestral sites that were there. And the province was happy to give us 1,200 acres and set aside over 3,000 acres, I think, for the county. With the strong support of making sure that the ancestral sites would not be disturbed, which created the 2008 created the Debert protection regulations. And at the time, I think the county was advised, Mike or Bob at the time as mayors, you know, that it could potentially cost $30+ million to do the assessment. And that was okay. People move forward, lands were exchanged, and then in 2011, we created another MOU. Because as we got closer to determining where Mi'kmaq Debert was gonna go within the lands that we had, there was opportunity to work with the county in exchange of other land. So I worked with Crawford McPherson at the time, who was the director of planning, I do believe was his title. And we worked on a division or along that saw the county get significant parcel access up onto the highway 104. And so 2014 came, and that was the last of our work together. And so it's been a, back and forth since 2014 and checking in with various folks. And we know that Mi'kmaq Debert is a very important economic generator for the region. It's just not for us, it's for everyone. So we want to start to look at 3 items here in an MOU to work with Dan and a few of his team. So we've been working with Jen Manton from the economic development side of things. We've worked with Pam and Macintosh, right? So so it's been slowly trickling along. So I think if we have this MOU, we can have a little more consistency in our meetings. We can have a little more consistency reporting back to you. So we have land, our one-time investments, and ongoing partnerships. So I have 3 slides here just to go in detail, and everybody was given a 1-2 pager on this as well. So consolidate and protect the lands, achieve a balance of protection and development for the future generations. So right now we have lands that have been set aside for the nation from the province of Nova Scotia through Department of Natural Resources, Public Works, and Invest Nova Scotia. So Invest Nova Scotia, Public Works have now transferred their lands to Mi'kmaq. DNR is the last lands to be transferred. Our legal are still working. County has indicated in a motion, direction from the county, that there are lands that need to be returned. They're not lands that are going to be usable. And I don't think the county wants to spend any time protecting them. Not that you wouldn't, but you would say that we would likely take them for protection. And then there are a local landowner has indicated their willingness to give parcel of their forest lands. So we're looking at consolidating all of those. And as I talked to Dan over the last couple of years and realized it's in your bylaws, the taxation for lands for cultural purposes as a not-for-profit and protected areas. So we would be looking to discuss that further. And I think we've had a couple of chats about that. Dan, I don't know if it's been raised here. Transformational investments. So in the first 10 years, the project will generate $199 million in economic activity for Central Nova or the Verde area. That's 1,000 person years of employment with 31 permanent full-time employees. Back in 2023, I wasn't coming with an ask. Today, I'm putting a number on the table, and we're requesting a county investment of $750,000 to $1 million. Millbrook Band, to give you an example, Chief and Council Millbrook have committed 500. Their first commitment was 300,000 over 5 years, which they just finished their installments, and they recommitted another 200,000 back in November. So their investment is important. It shows that the nation is putting. It shows Millbrook is putting, because Millbrook too feels that they're going to be one of the biggest investors or the benefactors from this work. And ongoing partnership and collaboration. So we know Central Nova tourism is only going to grow, right? We see the work that you're doing at the former Palliser site there, right? On the Discovery site. So I think together in the work that's happening along the Geo Park is important work. We haven't been as engaged. We are part of it, but we haven't been engaged. So trying to remember the gentleman's name. He sends me emails often looking to meet. I think it's Bill. Not only Devin. Yeah, Devin, there's another.
Oh,
other
Will
two.
Baldwin.
There we go. So I'm not trying to ignore it, just have a lot of work on it. So anyway, we're thinking that, water infrastructure and pressure upgrades, so we have a requirement, and I'm not an engineer. But we have a requirement to get the water pressure up into the center, which we think is probably a challenge, is what we understand from Michelle. For your, some of the pumps get up to. So we're gonna have to build a cistern close to the center. Right, which is a lot more than we had. Almost a $750,000 investment. We're looking at road maintenance and clearing, so having future conversations on it. We're gonna have a driveway. It's gonna require some maintenance, it's gonna require snow removal. So we don't know what's available out there too. Trail development and promotion. County in the past have been great supporters of our Mi'kmaq Debert Trail, so thank you for that. Ancestral site protection assessment. And then partnering with ongoing capital and project funding opportunities at both the provincial and federal levels. I don't know how much of that is happening right now. I see a couple of the programs have dried up and gone away, and I don't know how much is going to be in the next round of the federal or provincial budgets. So before I turn it over, I just want to show one video. And it's just our fund development video. So Mayor Christine would have seen this in our launch a year ago. I think this is gonna work for me. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Ali, thank you for listening to me. And the previous presenter stole my line about the check. So if you have questions, we'll entertain those questions.
Thank you, Tim. That video gave me chills. It was really well done. We have, anybody willing to put a motion on the floor to receive? Moved by Mayor Blair, seconded by, Councillor Benoit. Are there any questions, any discussion on the motion? Did you?
Just one quick thing from council, and I can't remember, this might have actually happened through the transition election, but I think the nonprofit status has already been passed by council. I'll go back and confirm that for you. I think that was an anticipation of the build. I think it was done, but I'll confirm that.
Thank you, Dan. You ready for the vote? I don't see any microphones lit up. Is yours? I can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Councillor Benoit.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. And also to Leah and Michelle. I know Michelle's done a great amount of work in this as well. Just want to recognize the tremendous amount of work that's gone into this project and is ongoing. Watching that video, I think that's the third time I've seen it, and it really resonates a lot of feelings to it. I welcome the opportunity to participate in some events that you bring forth, like the celebration of the Mi'kmaq basketry. I am sad to say that before coming into council, I didn't really take any opportunities to educate myself a little bit more, but I feel now I'm trying and learning lots of things about the Mi'kmaq. And my son and my husband also attended, this was years ago, they have Mi'kmaq in their ancestry, and they attended a drum making session, and they still have those and are quite proud of them. So I know this project has been years in the making, and it reflects persistence, careful research, community leadership, and a long-term vision to create a cultural center that will serve not just Mi'kmaq communities, but the wider public through education, understanding, and reconciliation. From a district perspective, this center represents an important cultural and educational asset for Debert and for Colchester County as a whole. It adds depth to our understanding of place and history, and it has the potential to be a point of pride and learning for future generations. So I just want to say thank you. Your presentation was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Benoit. Councillor Kennedy.
Through you to Tim, thanks for the presentation. What do you mean by partnership? Is that part owner, or is that just participating in? I'm thinking of your building.
Yeah, no, we would invite you to not be a part owner, that's for sure, right? But it would be definitely, ways you can help support.
I think, we're gonna be neighbors. We like to be closer friends than we've been. And there are a lot of places to work together. So whether those are showing collaboration and partnership and funding applications, those are what goes on for us. But things like the assessments are ongoing. So and the overall development context in this area related to rates, I think MUCCD hasn't always felt like we could help the way we could, but we have a lot of expertise there, and we but just as we scratch the surface, marketing. So is there a joint marketing for tourism between Geopark, Fundy Development, and us? Indigenous tourism is a huge untapped resource for everybody, certainly for me, but it also is for the county. Part of what we hope you hear today, everyone, is that this is a major nation level project. We have national support across Canada as well, but the greatest benefactors are Central Nova. So, we're happy to go through numbers with you if that's helpful, but I just think the questions around partnership are open-ended and really to see where can we. So I know you have a sustainability person on staff. Tim didn't mention it, we're a net zero building, green and inclusive community building funding. But we have to do climate monitoring, for example. So various situations that have to happen. That's something we work on together. We do a lot of mapping because of the sites. I know you guys have you have a GIS project that goes on to help do all the work, which is So the partnership slide is really just the tip of the iceberg to talk about what, and as Tim mentioned, in working with Michelle and her team, the civil infrastructure processes for our project, the fact that there wasn't water pressure meant $750,000 investment planning on with the cistern. So, you know, we can come in and help lend a voice to helping you leverage money from provincial and federal sources to upgrade your water piping, so other facilities have the water they need for the fire. This is a fire suppression issue that we too. So there's a whole range of things we can work on. And the school, when young people were nearby, I wish we had brought you guys. We should send this over to you. But you know, Debert has always been a fan for Gerald for the public programming we've done. It's close by. You know, the kids who grew up here should know the incredibly special place they're living in. So there's a lot of opportunity here, and I think part of that is just figuring out where are your priorities that are we may not know about, and what can we do together to help you better. And as Tim said, part of that is, you know, if you have road clearing and we need road clearing, if that's something that you can contribute, then there's nothing concrete there. We really meant the request today really is about coming together to talk better than I think we probably have over the last while, to figure out how we can work together. And I think there are a lot of opportunities.
So just to clear it, so it's support and working together, nothing to do with ownership. Thank you.
Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Hi, Tim. I asked you this question 2 years ago. Remember, I asked, when are you going to start? Reply to me at that point, had the rest of the money. So I think the numbers are pretty much in line with last time. I think your amounts were around, you had 24, million at that point. I think around a $46 million bill 2 years ago. So you've got an extra 10 million. So you're still roughly almost 25% short, right? My concern is that cost overruns. I mean, a lot has happened in 2 years since you sat in front of us. We're buying stuff all the time, and we've seen, you know, stuff go up 15, 20, 30, 40%. And in the building market, we've seen that everywhere. I guess my question to you is, 2 years ago, if the total bill was 46 million, how can it remain roughly the same? Build 3 years from where it was 2 years ago.
Yeah. So as I mentioned in my closing there, that we had to go back and do a value engineering where the project costs exceeded 55 million. And there was no appetite. It's just like we almost reached the goalpost and then it gets moved again. But what I can say is we have enough to build the building, right? And 38 million that we have in the bank will get us the building. We may be, and it gives us time, right, to move forward and continue to raise that money, because where we'll be short would be the exhibits. The exhibits itself is close to 10 million, right, for the 3 galleries. So, yeah, we just felt the time is now to move forward. And of course, the biggest question that I get a lot is the operating, right? A huge operating budget, which the province will be, you know, I want to say on the hook, but they're still a little shy to put it in writing. But every meeting I have with the minister, whether it's Mr. Ritzy or the previous government and their department of Culture, Tourism and Heritage, is that they're there for operating support. We get some operating support from them now in the tune of 330,000. So we'd have to grow it about 670,000, get us to $1 million from them. So would you add to?
Under value engineering, cut $8 million off the capital project. So that escalation you're talking about, we did see that and we addressed it. And also to add that in the capital budget, there's 8% escalation to tender, and then I think 5% to mid-construction, and we have a 3% tariff allowance in the budget as well. So we're certainly aware of what's going on. We have regular costing with architectural. You won't know until we go to tender. Expect to go to tender in April or May. So, you know, I'm sure as you all know, you don't really know until you go to tender. But I will say we the utility corridor and the driveway came in. We were budgeted at a 3.5 and we're coming in on a 3. So that was great. We were very happy that that came in under, but building's a different beast and we understand that. But the big answer to your question is we saw that and we did with a cut $8 million on capital.
Yeah, if I made it, Mayor. We've seen it with the funding discovery strike in the bridge with us. We've been playing with that for a while, right? The reason it's not been built yet is for the exact same reason. And the other thing we spoke about a couple of years ago was that, you know, our land and your land, our land, we have to go and clear land and get archaeological clearing. You know, our costs at that point were going from $36,000 an acre, and we just recently got a study back here in the last few months. It's close to $70,000 for now to do the same clearing on the same land. And I know we were talking about maybe sharing whatever we're working on at that point, but I didn't hear you say anything about that tonight, because obviously we want to develop land in the bird and make it what we want to make it, but that's limiting us when we look at a large portion of land and we got to clear it, try to sell it for $50,000 an acre. It's costing us $75,000 or $100,000 an acre just to go through there. So I don't know where we're going at there, but again, we're very limited what we can do there because of the initial cost for that. So we discussed it. I don't know what that's
Yeah,
not.
you know, I think, and I thought Leah addressed it just a little bit in her comments, and that, you know, having a better relationship to work closer together to let you know that, not that we're withholding any information, but we now know more about these ancestral sites now, 17 of them, than we did when there were 6. Right, so Leah's an archaeologist by training, right? We have another staff member who works on, she's on maternity leave, but she works closely with the Debert regulations. So between the pair of them, they have extensive knowledge and understanding of these sites, right? So I think the offer was, and I think we've mentioned it before, that when there are plans, come and talk to us, right, about the development of certain areas.
Yeah, I mean, just looking across and you guys, like, so you're at the airport, right? That's an outwash plain. There are no sites in the outwash plain, but just geologically, I think the past recommendation was just a broader geological survey of your area could tell you very clearly. More testing that happens, the more we know what the sites are. So any land area that's outwash plain is easy to test, not hard to get to the get to.
Leo, it's an outwash plain.
Sorry. When you have a huge glacier and the glacier retreats, it leaves, you know, the way the Debert airport is flat. It's not flat because somebody created that to be flat. The airport is flat because the glacier 13,000 years ago retreated and created that flat space. Now, mind you, I'm sure there's been plenty of bulldozing and leveling and so on, but you know, when you come up, when you're going to the Debert rink and you look up on the left there, that plain, that's created by the glacier a long time ago. So, you know, I think everybody is learning more and more as the work goes on. And so I think there was some strategic, we felt like there was some strategic direction if you're not getting it from your teams that MDCC could help you talk through to think, and it doesn't mean the testing can't happen. And you know, we know it's expensive, but we also have really seen it works. And if you don't know that, like you should, because you put your resources into it. So when this work started, there were 4 sites that were known up in the special places that where the potential lands are. And we're now at more than 17, right? From the railroad all the way down to the highway. And, you know, that's very important to the nation. I'm not a new person, but when we went into the process with the treaty rights, the chief said, you can develop as much as you want, just don't hurt the sites. And they did that. So I know they're expensive. I know they're hard labor-wise, like they're physically difficult to do this work, but the work is doing what we intended it to do. It's not for nothing. So there have been huge protections that achieve because of it. So, but I do think that Sharon and I and could potentially lend some to you on about where you sell, which ones do you go to test first? Because hope, I don't know this side of it, and we have to keep some arm's distance work on the regulatory side of it, but if you're testing in the airport, it should be cheaper than if you're testing down by Tim Hortons, where the massive sands are, 2 meters deep. So the amount of effort it takes to work through certain kinds of sediments and soils out here and where you're gonna find sites is totally different depending on where you are. So that landscape that the glacier created all that time ago, it has a huge correlation to where you're finding where people were living, where they weren't. You map that onto your development areas, you could make some strategic decisions around, okay, we're gonna spend and see, maybe we can spend 40 because we know we're digging very deep here and it's unlikely we're gonna find sites. What's expensive is when I expect, what is expensive? I'll tell you for you, but what I understand on the archaeology side is when you find sites, things have to be further documented. When you're digging further to figure out where things are, if you're digging and then you can't sell the land, that's probably ultimately the most expensive for you, right? So I know your goal is not to find sites. Our goal is to protect the sites, but we're not wishing sites everywhere across, and people aren't living everywhere, right? People are living in there's a topographic ridge, there's a ridge of high ground that runs, I feel like I'm talking too much, from the railroad all the way to Tim Hortons, to the 104. The sites are sitting right along that ridge, and unfortunately, McCalman Road runs right along that ridge till it veers off to go past the trail. That's why you're finding sites on both sides of the road there. So we could help do this kind of talking with you about, okay, we have X number of lots we want to sell. Which are the best ones for us to work? And honestly, not to speak out to whoever your contractors are, but the archaeologists working with you should be in a place also to help do that kind of strategic thinking if you're not ready. And I think there's money to be saved. Sure.
Councillor Johnson.
Yeah, it's just a follow-up, and I think I kind of heard the same thing a couple of years ago, but we are also very limited here. We're limiting ourselves because we would like to develop Debert as a center, an economic center here. And believe it or not, this is limiting how we sell land just because of the cost. So that's what's hurting us. And if you look at Debert over the last number of years, we haven't done a whole lot of development or brought anybody really new in for a while. The major players have been there, and I don't have to tell you who they are, you know who they are too, but we've had no substantial people or businesses come to that area. And if we look at it, why? The other thing you said is that people we work with to go and do the archaeological clearing should know, we've seen the quotes come in, and I think that we're using independent companies to do that. And they know that it's a real moneymaker for them. And we got a quote, like I said, a few months ago, and I was blown away at the numbers, and I'm thinking it's been a few years to change that much. So we plan on putting a street in, and it's almost $1 million just to go in front of Ritchie Brothers and swing around there just to have the digging thing. Can't sell $1 million worth of land to get that money back. So we got to get it back over time through taxes and economic development. So believe it or not, it is limited us.
Sure.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part. So I don't know what the answer is. If we can work with you and somehow get through that and pick other spots, yeah.
Right, we have a motion on the floor. Ready for the question? All in favor, say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. The motion carries. Councillor Benoit?
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, and I'd also like to make a second motion to refer to staff for budget consideration.
I have a seconder,
I'll second that.
seconded by Mayor Blair to refer to staff for budget deliberations. All in favor, say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. That motion carries. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you very much to Tim and Leah. Nothing further to come before the meeting. I will look for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Councillor Weatherby. Thank you. Actually get home. 10 o'clock.
Careful driving home, Carrie.
Yeah, the road might be a little icy.
Yeah, it's freezing rain coming in this morning.
I know, the weather said it's supposed to just be cloudy and nothing for the next 4 days, but it never.
I think it's bad.